Welcome to a somber edition of GoldBoys Live, twitch.tv/GoldBoys Network. Pickett, Sleeper. We got Josh. We got Brian. Uh, we'll get to NBA. We'll get to some football. We'll bounce around. We have a World Series. Unfortunately for Brian, it's not the World Series he was hoping for. Man, I'll just start. I never thought this was coming. I mean, I bet Phillies in 5 plus 550. I feel like I should have cashed that bet. They killed in the first two games. Let games 3 and 4 get away. Had Wheeler set up for game 5. I mean, they're up 5-2 in the 7th of game 4 and should have put this away. I mean, think about this. 1 week ago today, Phillies up 2-0. And this Arizona team, which was so bad for so long, needs to beat you 4 out of 5 to win. And it's exactly what they did. Brian, what's up, man? How are you guys doing?
Dude, it's one of those things, too, where I feel like a lot of times fans of each team, get like too involved and start like talking shit. It's like, dude, they played a great series, like the Diamondbacks. It is what it is. It's really frustrating. But as you said, it's hard to pinpoint moments in a series like this where like so many things went wrong. But that game 4, that Kimbrel game, after you give them a pass for game 3, okay, you blew the game, whatever. 9th inning tie game, you got the loss, but coming in that second game and just immediately allowing 3 runs in that kind of fashion, it's just something you can't do. I mean, it's easy to look at it after the fact, but that's going to sting for a while. Is that you go up 3-1, Zach Wheeler on the mound, pitching the way he has been. It's probably a whole new series, 100%, and they just did not get it done.
It's better to have loved and lost. Is that what it is?
Yeah, shut up, Josh.
Never to have loved it all. Better to make it to the LCS in back-to-back years, World Series, one of them, than never at all. But what are the Diamondbacks? How do you kill the Diamondbacks? You have to cut their literal head off. Otherwise they will not die. They lost what was it, 12 out of 14 or something at one point. It was just
they keep going down early too, and they just keep coming in.
Cannot kill them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess condolences to Brian. I'm kind of looking forward to the World Series. I guess I don't know what it'll be scrappy. I'm trying to find something. I don't really care. I'm gonna be honest.
1,750 to 1 before the season for a Diamondbacks Rangers World Series. If you had that, congratulations.
I'll say this: one person, you can't blame one person for a series loss or this, that, the other, but you can give one credit to somebody. Man, I love Zach Wheeler. He came in yesterday, gave 2 innings, scoreless. I mean, he's just 3 days rest. I don't know why they didn't go from Suarez right to Wheeler. It didn't seem to make much sense to me, but he played so well the entire postseason that it's kind of one of those things where I've been saying it since the wild card. The home runs are fun, but the pitching was really what kept the team in it. And when you have the pitching, but the runs aren't scoring, or you're not hitting, say, 6 solo shots, it catches up to you, because that's not how you're going to win games, just hoping someone can just rock one out of the park. Yeah. You got to put together good at bats, and they just did not string anything together.
Castellanos was bad. I think the home runs can kind of get to you. And anyone that's ever played baseball, even like the little league level, don't swing for the fences. Like the home runs can, you end up swinging for the home runs. You end up taking some bad. You get into some bad habits as a hitter, and I think we were just talking about this off there. They were very jumpy at the plate, especially Turner had 2 on, had a chance, swung at a couple breaking balls away. It just, think about it. Arizona was down 3-0 to Milwaukee in game 1 and game 2. And think about what Milwaukee's feeling here. What's he going to say?
Yeah.
When is Will going to learn that it's not 2003 and favorites aren't the wave anymore? You put all these teams in the playoffs. It's just there's going to be some randomness. Arizona was 415 to 1 to beat Texas before the playoffs started. This is October 2nd at Circa. So 415 to 1. You could have gotten the Diamondbacks to beat the Rangers. And then the other side of it, the Rangers to beat the Diamondbacks 350 to 1. So if you just thought this is going to be the World Series, you'd have 350 to 1 and 415 to 1 in your pocket. And I would say this too. If you have Wheeler available, and again, when you score 2 runs, you got to blame the offense. But when you have Wheeler available, why not get him in as soon as possible? I thought letting Suarez face the lineup the third time was bad. And that was strange. And just if you got Wheeler, bring him in as soon as possible. Get a lead, and I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
When did baseball become the hardest team to predict who was going to win in the postseason? It's a full series. The introduction of the extra little mini, the wild card, whatever. I guess, but it's every year. It seems like the last 3 or 4 years seems like a similar storyline. But
John said Will took the Phillies and the Astros. Yeah, both were up 3-2 at home with 6 and 7 at home. So it's not like it's not like those were crazy picks.
No,
congrats if you had the other side of it.
It's also one of those
Rick
things
Dizzle
where
wants us to talk about the D-backs more.
no, I was gonna say was that I think we're just covering the whole series as a whole. I don't think we've said anything negative about the D-backs. Just kind of covering that.
I think we haven't said much about them at all.
I mean,
It's
we
so
talked about how
frustrating because I loved them all year. I could never see them doing this, though. I remember I had them over 76.5 wins. There was a point in August where I had to worry about that because they were playing so poorly. Like, it's been a fun team, but they were outscored on the season. So anybody like, oh, I thought they were going to the World Series. Like, no, you didn't. They were outscored on the season. They were 1-6 against the Mets. The Mets had a better run differential. So, like, look, if you saw this coming, like, let me see your tickets because I don't believe you.
Yeah, I'll say this too. Like you said, 3-2 at home. I mean, they were better managed in that series, which goes a long way in baseball. Because as much as you want to talk about talent, this and that, but they were just better managed. I think you talk about the two managers like Topper with some of those decisions. I think they handled their pitching well. They played the matchups well, and they were able to sustain leads, which a lot of teams haven't been able to do.
I like that Rick Dizzle's coming in for the little guy though, being like, yo, the Diamondbacks are in the World Series and you guys are talking about the Phillies. To be fair, like we're consoling our Phillies friend over here, BrianVsTheBooks. But also like
the guy that had World Series tickets and went to 3 different games.
Precisely.
Like I had a lot of love for the Philly.
Heart and wallet have been on the line for this team for this show for a while. And if you had Brandon Pfaadt combining for 15 Ks in his 2 starts in the LCS, like, congrats, you are a brilliant capper there.
Yeah, both of those alt
part.
strikeout parlays hit both Game 3 and Game 7. Suarez and Pfaadt. So yeah, if you had those, man, those were some huge payouts.
Yeah.
I will say this about Arizona: it's probably the worst team to ever make a World Series. I can't imagine a worse team has ever made the World Series. 84-78 outscored on the season. And they have to be the worst team to ever make a World Series.
Yeah, it's tough. Arizona, Arizona. Who lives in Arizona, right? Like, it's not like
doesn't
a huge.
Quan live in Arizona now?
Place.
I think
Quan
maybe.
Does. Yeah. I think a lot of rich people are buying houses there, cheap property. Once California falls in the ocean, like it's just I haven't been following the team, and I live out further west in a way I could watch them late, and still was just like I just don't care about this team. There's nothing sexy here. I mean, Carroll's nasty. Obviously, probably would have gotten a lot more love in a different ballpark, but a different team. But
can I say this? I'm not even saying like we're giving Arizona hate. I think that I said in the chat too. I think the story is that the minus 1,200 team up 2-0 has kind of like shot themselves in the foot. And to Arizona's credit, it's like you want to talk about I don't want to say they're the worst team that ever like made it. It just
who would be worse?
I'm just saying I don't want to say that blanket statement. I'm just going to give them a positive thing and say they played the game. I mean, talk about the Phillies. Someone would sit here and say 1 for 28 in the clutch by the 1-4 Philly hitters. Arizona plays like correctly. Like the Phillies can't lay a bunt down to save their life. They couldn't, hit with runners from
small ball. Yeah.
The Arizona Diamondbacks they don't necessarily have the pop to say hit 17 home runs and insert 13 games, but they hit well with guys on base and they actually made base runners and they produced when they needed to.
Yep. I mean, they stole every base too. It's just hard with these new rules to keep guys on base, and it's like they're stealing every base. They get Thomas in center field, catches everything, so they're good on defense. They've got some qualities, but just I don't know. As a fan too, and again, it's my bets are what's most important. But as a fan too, it's like if Arizona wins the World Series, like what are we doing? This is the best team in baseball. Like they've put so many teams in the playoffs now. They've just made it completely random. Where I don't know. I just wouldn't know what to make it of if Arizona wins the World Series. It is Texas minus 180 or so here. Arizona's plus 145, plus 150. What are you laughing at, Josh?
I don't know what I would do with myself if
right. Like, what's the point?
No, I'm just laughing at the thought of like if Arizona wins, we're all just gonna be like,
right.
Fuck. And honestly, with the way that Arizona has played and they've played the game, in that fashion I was saying, I think they're actually priced right at plus 140. I actually think it's. I don't think the Rangers deserve anything more than minus 170 against the Arizona team. I think it's going to be a very good series to watch. Just not the one we probably thought we were going to get a few weeks ago.
I think the comparison would be like if Miami had won the title last year, but even Miami, it's like they'd been there before. They have Butler. And even that was like, man, if Miami wins the title, like that's that feels just very unlikely. And I don't know. With playoffs, you want some balance between what's fun and what's fair. Like it'd be fun to have Major League Baseball where all 30 teams make it in a single elimination, but that would just be stupid. It wouldn't be right. I don't know. I just feel like this is a strange World Series. And look, congrats if you had it. Like I said, Texas minus 170 at DraftKings, Arizona plus 145. I don't know. You could take Arizona to win in 7 plus 600. You could take Texas in 7 plus 400. I guess we'll get a long series. I'll put it this way. Nothing in this series would surprise me with these two teams. Absolutely nothing.
I mean, yeah, Texas clearly favored because it would be very tough to find a team that would be in the World Series that Arizona would be favored over. But I don't know who's going to show up to these games, man. Like Cowboys fans ain't going to these home games. So it's gonna be interesting to see what this World Series.
I feel like that's a valid point because Texas has home field advantage. I feel like that's mostly a lot of Astros territory, and we'll have to see what the attendance looks like.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
We mentioned my identity and wallet being stolen earlier. At least you get the refund for the World Series tickets I bought. That's a fun time, right? At least I get that money back.
Yeah.
It's look, it's crazy. It just I never expected this too, and I feel bad because I jumped off the bandwagon with the Diamondbacks. I had them plus 400 to make the playoffs. I never ever saw this coming. So if you did,
have you looked at anything yet? Any bets for the World Series?
Just the exact matchup. So let's see. We can look at awards too. And the series starts Friday, so we got a little time here. Have you guys looked at anything? Awards, World Series MVP, anything? Brian, I'm sure it's painful for you to even look. So
yeah.
If it makes you guys feel better, if you don't know this, I do social media work and marketing outside of this GoldBoys job. So I had to make a Diamondbacks World Series graphic last night for one of my contracts, and it almost I don't know if you guys ever used Adobe while crying, but it's a different thing. It's a whole different world. I honestly I'll be real with you. You guys can take this. I have not looked at it.
I'm so bad at Photoshop. I cry every time I use it anyway.
I need a day or two to start looking at award markets.
Garcia's plus 500, Seager's plus 550 for MVP, Carroll 10-1, Marte 10-1, Simeon 15-1, Eovaldi 16-1, Carter 20-1, Moreno 20-1, Josh Jung 20-1, Christian Walker 20-1. A lot of these guys in the 20-1 range, you're not going to give you anybody. Scherzer 70-1. I don't think he'll pitch enough. Merrill Kelly's 40-1. Any of those names jump out to you?
What's Brandon Pfaadt?
Pfaadt is he even listed here? That would be disrespectful to not
list. That is really. He's
I don't see him listed at DraftKings.
FanDuel has him plus 7,000.
The biggest spots. It was a stud.
Yeah, he was good. What was it, Brian?
FanDuel has him plus 7,000.
So 70-1 on Pfaadt. Not a terrible number. If you want a little action in the game, he's probably going to pitch. Well, he pitched. So he probably won't pitch till middle of the series, but that could set him up if it's a long series to pitch like game 3 and game 7. So, I mean, it's not terrible.
I'll say this. Terrible. I don't hate Eovaldi. It's like FanDuel has him 17-1. I wish I just got a little bit more juice to him because, not to mention a Phillies name again, but kind of like with how we talked about on the show with Zach Wheeler being a good price. I feel like Eovaldi is that guy in this rotation that could pull that same role where if somehow that game went different yesterday, it would have to be Zach Wheeler to win the MVP. Same with Eovaldi. If he gives you 4 outings in 7 games or whatever, I feel like they get a lot of love for that. And he's been really good on the mound. So 17-1, I don't think is a bad price over taking like a short shot at 5-1, which is less fun.
There is definitely a little bit of a feeling like these two teams are in the World Series. Like I don't know anything about baseball anymore. I could have never imagined this. I never thought Arizona would come back. I'm just like, I just kind of shrug and throw my hands up. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
Yeah, I just want to point out that I am the diehard Phillies fan, but I'm not a bad fan. I give credit where it's due. I mean, they won the game. It's just one of those things where like you said, show the tickets because I just don't think it was one of those things where people really were expecting it down, 3-2 going back. Or I mean, even Vegas odds was minus 1,400 for one team. So as you said, it's kind of that randomness.
Yeah, and if this isn't your real job, then you weren't making predictions. Like if your job is something else, you're just here to talk about sports. You weren't making a prediction in the first place, so it's safe and easy to go. You guys just pick chalk, and it's like, what did you pick? You didn't pick it, but you can condemn us because that's our fucking job. And if we did a bad job at our job, then you can tell us that, and we could take it. But I do think like it's one of those things like where last night I had AD over 23.5 points. He has 17 at the half, and you're like, I feel smart. I feel intelligent.
Anything, yeah.
And then he doesn't score a point in the second half. It's the same thing as being up 2-0, 3-1, all that with your best pitchers on the mound. Nola could have closed it out. He didn't. Like, it just is what it is, man. With sports, it's fun. Like, if you did call it, you were feeling like an idiot for a little bit. If you pick the D-backs, all of a sudden they turn it around. Like, that's the fun of it all. Like, obviously I wish I picked the D-backs, but my ticket had Phillies on it as well, and it was wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
You guys want to move on to anything else? Basketball, NBA? You guys have anything for tonight?
I got some plays for tonight. Yeah, I was. You asked if we were. I've been over baseball after the wild card. I felt good about that, and then after that,
How was last night for you? I was watching mostly the baseball. I know the Nuggets won and the Suns won.
A little bit down. Sorry, what were you saying? Suns lost or won?
Suns came back and won, right? Nuggets pretty much controlled that game from start to finish. I didn't watch a lot of it. What were your takeaways from last night? How did tonight go? And if you guys want to get into whatever you got tonight.
The Nuggets are good at basketball. If anybody forgot, they probably should have been added to that ESPN or Turner graphic where they weren't even on the opening night slate with a picture of their guy. But they're the best 5 in the league, so we'll see how that goes. Like no real shade yet to the Lakers. They do have stuff to figure out with new pieces that are going to be important. Austin Reeves was all right, but if he's going to be like a legit third banana, then he's going to have to get the ball more, and they just didn't give him the ball. So, yeah, I mean that was the main takeaway from that game. And then the other game is like, they're both good too, but the Warriors are getting old, man, and like Clay is not going to lead the league in threes again this year. Let's put it that way. So they're gonna be in trouble there.
No,
what do you guys have for tonight?
Wemby night, baby. Let's just kick it off with Wemby. It's still plus money for him to get 3 blocks. He is a walking 3 blocks. I know he got 2.8 in the 19 minutes that he played in the preseason, but like played 19 minutes. I still think I got him at 28 minutes tonight, like between 25 and 30, I think is his minutes projection. So do what you will with that. He averaged 20 and 3 blocks in 19 minutes of preseason. I think he's just going to keep bringing it. I know it's a little different comp, but like he changes the geometry of the sport. So guys are going to be surprised that he's blocking them from where he's blocking them tonight. So I took 3 blocks and 20 points.
What was the odds you got? I got some people got like plus 140 for them. Like
I got plus 390. Oh, are you talking about just for the blocks?
Just for the blocks,
yeah. I took it twice at plus 130 and plus 115, and now it's at plus 110.
I think it's kind of funny you said that because I think this early in the NBA is a time you kind of live with your choices, because if you're getting these odds at certain prices, you almost, it's like, okay, if he doesn't get 3 blocks, I don't even think you should feel like an idiot. I feel like it's just a price that, for all you know, in 2 weeks, that's a minus 120 price, and you're getting it for plus 130, plus 140.
100%.
So same thing. What you kind of mentioned there is I'm also in the same boat as you, Josh, where I bet a lot of player props. I took like a correlated parlay where I took Clint Capella 10 points and Trae Young 8 assists at plus 145. I just feel like I was betting that last year at minus 130, and I know it's game 1, but Capella still has a role in that team. Fast pace. Give me the price at plus 145, and if I miss, I miss. But holy hell, I just think you can find some good prices for these early games in the season.
Reeves, by the way, 4 of 11 last night, so he didn't. I mean, he got 11 shots. He just didn't shoot the ball well.
I'll say this: I didn't get a chance.
D'Lo had the most minutes in the game.
Oh,
that's what the fuck pissed me off. But
what was his final stat line? He was chucking a lot from what I saw.
Of course he was.
To be fair to him, he was one of 2 starters, I think, with a positive plus minus, which do what you will with that. He was also on the floor with the second team, played 36 minutes. Like I said, seems like Austin Reeves would be a much better leader of your second unit once everybody else comes out. But what the fuck does everybody in the NBA know besides Darvin? Like that I don't know if you saw the clip of D'Lo getting talked to by LeBron during a timeout. LeBron's like, here's what I want you to do. When I'm on the elbow, pass me the ball. The very next play, D'Lo chucks a 35-foot 3 with LeBron standing in the exact position where he told him to give him the ball. This is an idiot. So he's not long for this team. His contract was made to be traded. And when that happens, then you open up the door for Reeves a little bit more. But that was a brutal rotation that Darvin Ham had out there. With like
I thought they played him way too much against the Nuggets in the playoffs last year.
Without question. I was gonna say I didn't get a chance to fully talk about like my takes from last night, and someone in the chat mentioned that we were talking about the Warriors too much. I'll say the Suns won, but we know what the Suns are, right? I mean, even without Beal, the Suns are just gonna be the Suns. I mean, they've been playing good basketball, especially at least in the regular season for the last 3 seasons. I'm not super worried about this team, performing as long as you don't have any major injuries or whatnot, or load management, which you can't really do anymore. I think we know the Suns. I think it's interesting to watch the Warriors just because the Warriors are gonna be a whole new team. And my biggest takeaway is that Chris Paul actually has a role in this team. Like I wasn't sure what his role would be, but he played 34 minutes. I mean, he didn't shoot well, but he definitely looked kind of comfortable out there being in a team that had shooters, and didn't just kind of abide his time like he could have maybe done off the bench.
No, that was one thing I called yesterday. I definitely got the over 7.5 assists for him, right? But then the double was plus 370, and he had 19 potential assists, and he ended with 9. So I mean, still that's pretty average, but like the 19 potential assists shows you yeah, he's going to have the ball in his hands. Like how often did the offense look like whatever CP3 team that he's been on in the past, where it's like pick and roll for me and I'll get shooters open. I think it's when he's on the floor without Draymond, that's what it's going to look like. So
did you guys how about
Booker's really
Wembanyama?
good, by the way, just so that no one gets mad at us for not talking about the Suns.
All right, how about for
good.
tonight's bets? I'll go first. I took Wembanyama. He plus 340 at DraftKings for a double.
Yeah.
There's a 4-1 at Bet Rivers. I mean, he's about, I don't know, 13, 14 feet tall. Can he not get 10 rebounds? He should get 10 points. Why is this number so high? What am I missing here?
Why is the juice so high?
Is he just not strong enough to rebound at this high of a level? It feels like
no. There's no reason he shouldn't be. He's playing against a rookie center who was like pretty good at Duke, and now he's going up against a team that was awful last year in limiting rebounds, and they only got worse in the Mavs. Like they're a bad rebounding team, man. And Dwight Powell might not play. Yeah, he's gonna be a problem for this. This is Wemby's opener, but like it's not Wemby versus like a solid front court. It's Wemby versus one of the worst ones. So
you like the double here?
Yeah. Everyone seems like us likes the rebounds. I specifically parlayed the 20 points and the 3 blocks for plus 400 on DraftKings.
What's keeping you away from a double? Just so I might.
I just the rebounds for him, like he plays all over the floor. Like he averaged 5 boards in the preseason, but 5 boards in 19 minutes. But I don't think he's going to double that time. And his per 36 is going to be about the same. So that's what scares me about the boards is like it's dependent on him getting a lot of offensive rebounds too, which he's highly capable of. But like you can box him out if you start doing it at the foul line.
Gotcha.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that comes into play too, because like Zach Collins is also healthy. It's gonna be a matter of how they decide to space out their defense, which has a lot to do with how you find rebounds on the court, because some of the best rebounders in the games don't necessarily rebound the ball as much as you would hope, because they do a lot of the other things right to set up the spacing. So
that's what he does. And let's also make clear, like the Mavs are going to play it at the same choppy, weird pace where like Luka or Kyrie come down, dribble it for as long as they feel like, and then 20 seconds later there's a shot. So that's not great for rebounds either.
Yeah, and some of the chat also said people are presuming maybe lower minutes, which is also a thing. Game one,
possible.
It's very possible. I think we talked about earlier that sometimes you want to jump on these prices, which I'm all for. But I do think having, say, like a 13 play card on like night one is another area that can go really wrong really fast if you start trying to jump on too many things and you find yourself in a hole, because you don't necessarily know what the minutes are going to look like for some of these guys.
Yeah, that's why I like taking the plus money. Plus, it's a fun bet to roof. Like I just want to watch him tonight and see what it looks like and have a little, 4-1's a nice little payout. And
I want to see what you guys think real quick, because the Zion matchup with the Pellies and the Grizzlies tonight, like Steven Adams out for the year. I'm sure a lot of people saw that. Brandon Clark out for most of the year. That front court is super thin. It's at 24.5 points.
Yeah, they need to find help. They're
gonna be picking somebody.
So what's the bet? What were you saying, John?
24.5 points for Zion. He played in 29 games last year. He scored 25 plus in 20 of those 29 games.
Aren't they going to limit him though? Don't you think they'll just go quick with him? I mean, they'll go easy with him.
That was my I misled you by saying that with my first point. That was the thing that like people are going to be on, but like I think I really like this under. I know that they're really thin, but it's 25 points and he hasn't played professional basketball in a year. Like,
I mean,
that's a lot of
points, I'm glad you brought that up, because if he plays shorter stints, do you think he's going to be more aggressive? Because I want to take the under for Jaren Jackson, because we've seen this movie before where Jaren Jackson tries to play the 5 and he can't keep his hands off people for more than 3 seconds. So if Zion comes in there for short stints, I do think he'll be aggressive in those little like 2 to 3 to 6 minute spouts.
I looked at that too, Brian. Just be a little careful with Jaren Jackson Jr. There were a number of games last year. He played 22 minutes and got 22 points and stuff like that.
No, yeah, but I'm also just playing the length if it's Zion and Valanciunas to kind of help limit that. Yeah, so I just think I'm going to wait until another NBA little thing. A lot of times wait for your unders. I'm not going to play it until closer to game time, because I feel like you're getting a lot more juice. It was minus 122 this morning. Now it's minus 102. If I get a 20.5, I'm going to pull it. So people hate betting under. So a lot of times you can find value down the road.
Always trying to hit that under. Yeah. I got a dog here for you guys.
Go. Yeah. I was just going to read off the games tonight and see if
go ahead.
Out of you. No, go.
Portland plus 9.5 at the Clippers.
All right.
We're gonna Who's fossil are we going to put at power
Okay.
forward tonight for the Clippers?
right.
Like
I like it.
Batum, Robert Covington, Marcus Morris Sr. Like
I mean,
who's coming out next? Elton Brand.
yeah,
Nine
nine and a
at
half's a
draft-
lot of
9 at
it's
draft.
That has a lot of
kings.
points.
Yeah.
It's a lot of points. Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
you can't discount that Clippers home court advantage, but I still think I'll take the
I
9
like
and
it.
a half.
Thinking outside the box. I'm seeing mostly 9s here. Is it still
Okay,
9.5 somewhere?
Yeah. Oh, did he give it down the half? Lost the hook.
let me
You're
see.
you're
Let me
moving
check on
numbers
Pickett
here.
Sports.
Good.
Good shout.
Yeah, good shout. I'll go through the games tonight. I will say too, I did bet the Sixers.
MGM
plus
has 9.5,
550 to miss
by
the
the way.
playoffs.
You did plus 550.
To miss, yeah.
That's a good number, dude.
right.
For
If
who?
Harden
Sorry, I
gets
missed that.
Sixers plus 550 to miss the playoffs.
Yeah,
If
we're not
Embiid
gonna
gets
win a game.
traded, like if Embiid gets traded, if Embiid gets hurt, like there's a path where this goes off the rails here for the Sixers. I would think.
To back up my friend Will here, also factor in implied odds when you're betting plus 550s and plus 600s. It's not like he's coming out here and saying this is like the lock of the year. I feel like a lot of times people will come out and be like, I can't believe that you didn't hit a single bet on that parlay. It's like,
Right.
that 3-leg home run parlays
Right.
that was like plus $1 million. So I think implied odds are important to factor in as well.
Hawks minus 3.5 at the Hornets. Pacers minus
Careful.
5 hosting the Wizards. Celtics minus 3.5 at the Knicks. That's a fun game. Orlando minus 4 against Houston. Those are two fun young teams. Cleveland minus 2 against Brooklyn. I kind of like Cleveland. That number looks a little light. I might take Cleveland on the money line.
I know Jared Allen's out. Darius Garland's question.
How are these guys out? Like, how are all these guys out already? Like last night, it's Booker, it's Draymond and Beal. These guys are all out or questionable. Harden's not playing. It's like the first game of the season. How are these guys hurt already? Like, it's unbelievable. Minnesota minus 1 against the Raptors. OKC minus 2 against the Bulls. Everyone loves OKC. Oh, OKC's plus 2 against the Bulls. That's interesting.
they're plus 2 now?
Yeah, I find that interesting. I might take OKC again. I hate being on the team where everyone's all over OKC, but they're a better team than the Bulls.
They are, but be careful. I hate betting the Bulls. They are a perennial 500 team right now, and they will be until they completely mix it up. But like the Thunder, there's a bit of fear on my part that the team that's been the best against the spread the last 2 seasons in the Thunder might have shifted the value at this point. So that's what my fear is. And like
but I'm surprised they're getting 2. Like that would surprise me.
The Billy Donovan factor's there too. I don't know what that does to it. This is such a wonky matchup. I never bet this matchup.
Yeah, the Bulls are a weird team. I mean, you saw the whole thing with Pat Bev saying, how do you have 2 top 100 players and not make the playoffs or whatever? The Bulls had quote unquote 3 of them, and they didn't look like shit last year.
Was it top 100 players? They can't be. Was it?
They had like the top 100. Like Pat Bev said about the
I know the quote, but I wasn't sure if it was top 100 or top 20. Like I forget the number.
It was like top 100. Like the Bulls had 3 of them, and he was saying, "How do you
top 100 is not
that?
anything special." That's
I know. It was just a funny quote. I'm just saying that they always have these. No one likes the Bulls core more than the Bulls, and they're the only people that like it.
It's so gross.
Grizz minus 1 against the Pelicans. Jazz plus 1.5 against the Kings.
There's some middle plays all over the place, dude. If you're looking at Pickett, you're gonna find a plus 1.5 on both sides. Like, there's a lot. I mean, it's not gonna be a solid middle. Like, you're gonna be rooting for a lot of 1-point games, but it's just the early NBA season. There's so much discrepancy between these.
Especially when there's 12 games on a first day, like big day slate, is a lot of room for discrepancies.
Yeah. Mavs minus 4 against the Spurs, so Spurs getting 4 at home with Wemby. I don't know. A lot of these lines look a little. That line looks a little short. Again, I don't know that I would play it, but if I had to bet a game here, I think I'd just take the 2 with OKC or just play them on the money line. Anything jump out to you in terms of a side? You guys bet any sides?
Yeah, you know what's another? I already hit the 2, but something that's interesting to me is Charlotte to upset the Hawks at home. Like Atlanta was really bad as a road favorite last year. The 3.5 points, I would love to get it above 4. Like I'd love a basketball number around 5 when I'm taking a dog, but yeah, I mean, I'm eyeing that game. I might just sprinkle on the money line because there's gonna be something weird tonight. I'm just trying to find where the weird is. There's gonna be something that happens. Like I'm considering the Blazers to win that game outright with a nice money line there. So I'm gonna try to find something like that tonight.
I don't know if I have the emotional stamina to sit through these like 20-point swings in the NBA where you're up 10 and you're down 10. I kind of.
That's why you get league pass and you just change the game when it starts.
Yeah.
You guys do a lot of live betting with NBA?
I actually glad you brought that up. I did it yesterday.
How'd it go?
Mainly I was depressed, but you don't want to use last year's data with you. But man, Steve Kerr in the third quarter, they put up 40 points in the third quarter. And I feel like that's been like a thing on Twitter too, the whole betting the Warriors in the third quarter. they just always seem to have the craziest third quarter. So I did that, and then when that won, I took the Suns plus 5.5 going into like the last frame or whatever. So
Nice.
I do think it's fun. I
Nice.
don't suggest live betting a lot of money on live betting. I think it's like a quarter unit to a half unit thing. I don't do that thing where it's holy shit, I'm 0-3. It's a 10 o'clock game. Let me get it all back. But I do think basketball is a game where if you watch it and you understand it a little bit, that you can get a read for it more than some other teams. Unlike baseball, where it's like, oh shit, like they just hit like 3 bombs. That didn't see that coming. I think basketball has a little bit more of a rhythm to it.
Basketball it has a rhythm and it has like energy. So like the point in the game where like a team goes down by 10 points and you see the line move too much. I think books have gotten better about it. My favorite live play with the NBA is like you get a 65-point first quarter and you get the spread the total all the way up to like 235.
Yeah, people start missing
there. But the books have gotten better at not bloating the totals after a large first quarter. I'll say that.
Yeah, I actually might take the MGM has at 9.5. You're talking about, Josh, for the Trailblazers. I do think the Trailblazers will be a fun team. Yeah. If anyone follows me in the Discord, this doesn't really count, but I did take DeAndre Ayton's over in points. It was 14.5 13.5 at open yesterday. It's already up to 15.5 minus 120. So at the very least, we got the CLV battle going for us. I took them 14 plus and 16 plus at plus 160. So the fact that it moved the whole basket is huge already. But I do think that, a guy like that was scoring so well last year in limited role with the Suns that this team, I think with the pace they're going to run, there should be points to go around in that offense.
I like that. Last bet I'll throw out there. I played already, even though I'm sure I'll make a few more plays today. I'll put out on Twitter and everywhere. But Franz Wagner over 22.5 points and rebounds combined. Like I think he's going to get 22 points against this Houston team. The 22.5 points and rebounds combined I think it's a bad number. So I'm gonna hit that as well. Franz gonna be real nice.
Him for most improved. 35-1.
I think Zach Lowe was saying that. Or Kevin Pelton, one of those two. Yeah.
Yep, I heard that, and let's see what he is for most improved player. That's always a weird award because
he is that. By the way, I should be very clear. Zach Lowe doesn't give a shit about that award the same way I don't, because he was just like, this is such an abstract, weird award, but he was like, I have to do a show on it, so. Fucking
22-1 at DK for most improved. Yeah, that one 6 man of the year. They're always just you like uncertainty because something random can happen. You can get a big number, but those are hard to bet. It's like comeback player of the year in the NFL. It's hard to know what the voters are thinking.
Cool, man.
All right.
Yeah. There's a lot to like. I just want to point this out. I want to say it earlier. Holy hell. This is going to be stressful. I hate this time of year. You have the World Series going on. You have 6,000 NBA props filtering in.
Phillies Diamondbacks game 8.
Yeah. Usually usually today is the day that I settle in for NFL lines because Thursday Night Football props come out. Some early NFL lines come out for Sunday. And I kind of have a nice, get some work done. Check this out. Now you have that on top of all of these NBA. It's so much. It's awesome, but
it's a lot.
Man, it's almost stressful if you're trying to work in the industry or do stuff in the industry on top of other work, and it's just holy shit.
I'm a big college basketball guy, and that's 2 weeks away.
It's like the best thing in the world, and it's also the worst thing that ever happened to everything. It's weird to explain.
Yep. Yeah. All right. I think that'll wrap. Condolences to the Phillies. Condolences to our Phillies tickets. Wheeler MVP, Schwarber MVP. I would love to see who got MVP if they came back and rallied last night.
I'll say this. Like I said, I think it'd be tough not to be Wheeler. I mean, if you give your team
don't rub it in. We're gonna end the show. I just can't.
No, but I'm saying no. We can end it here. I know we had a lot of money on Wheeler, but how do you not give it to the guy that gives you 3 good outings in 7 games? It's just one of those things. I think it'd be really tough.
I mean, Schwarber did hit 5 homers and he walked 1,000,000 times, so it would have been an interesting.
But then he died out. Unless he hit the game winner, I feel like he died out.
5 homers in a 7-game series is still pretty good. It would have been an interesting vote. It would have been an interesting vote, but you know what? We'll never know.
5 homers, 3 RBIs. Yep, it was.
We'll never know. All right, boys. Josh, Brian, appreciate you guys in the chat. Chat was good today, very lively. So, thank you guys for listening. Thank you to Pickett, Sleeper. You guys are back noon Eastern. I'm back Friday noon Eastern. So enjoy the games. See you then.